guys, and welcome to Faithwerks Designs. I'm Faith, and today I am very excited to show you guys my latest pattern. Now this one is going to be free. I know, finally! I have been waiting for kind of an easier pattern to come along and come into my brain that I could make that was easy to put together and that wasn't like 70 pages long. I know, a couple of my testers were messaging me and they're like, Faith, we're missing like 30 pages. I can't help it. I'm thorough, okay? I just can't help it. Anyway, so here is the Cat-tastrophe wallet. Now there's two reasons for this name. One, only my testers are ever going to know because this was a story. And two, the cutouts on the flap, it just kind of reminds me of a cat ears when it's flapped up. And so I was like, Cat-tastrophe. There you go. Let's get into it. On the back we have a nice little zipper pouch. It goes to the bottom like so. This one is a super easy pattern, you guys. Very beginner friendly. I do want to mention the vinyl for this. The one that I used, this was from Weft and Warp. This is the first time I've ever bought from them. And the other vinyl that I got is fine. But this one was a little bit stretchy. You really do not want to use a stretchy vinyl for this because it's going to kind of warp. I showed you guys in the video when I was doing my card slots how it kind of like shifted up a little bit. Because there's no interfacing in this, it's not going to make it stiff. So you really need to use like a marine vinyl or something like that for this wallet. Alright, opening it up, there's my cat ears. And then BAM! This is very beginner friendly. So if you're looking for a quick wallet to kind of whip up, and it's actually, I should have showed you guys the profile of it. It's really thin. So if you were looking for a wallet that's a lot thinner, this is going to be the wallet for you. So on the very bottom, there is an ID pocket so that you can put your little ID in here. There are 3 card slots right here. I should have filled this up so you guys could see, but it's been a week. It's been a week. Behind your ID card slot, there is a slip pocket. And then on the top, there are 6 card slots to put your cards in. I grabbed a card real quick, so that's kind of what it looks like on the inside. So it's a really quick sew. I hope you guys like it. Let's get started. You're going to need your ID window panel and your lining ID window panel. We're going to have our outer and our lining flaps. We're going to have our outer and our main lining. We're going to have our 3 long card slot panels. I'm going to have my 3 ID card slot panels. I'm going to have my top, bottom zipper pocket pieces, my zipper, and then a zipper pull. And then you're going to have your clear ID panel and then your lining for your clear ID panel. I put double-sided tape on the top of my ID window cutout, and then I put a piece down at the bottom. I'm going to remove that paper, and I'm going to take my ID clear piece and I'm going to center it there. Now what we need to do is we need to start about 1/4 of an inch on the side of our cutout. We're going to top stitch right through here to about 1/4 of an inch on this side of the cutout. And then that's all we're doing, it's just that one line. So I've got my stitch length at 4, and then I'm just going to start 1/4 of an inch from this cutout side. I'm starting 1/4 of an inch over here. I'm going to sew down till about 1/4 of an inch on this side of this edge, if that makes any sense at all. So it should kind of look like that. You want to go 1/4 of an inch on this side and then 1/4 of an inch on this side. Alright, now that we've got that sewn in place, I went ahead and put another piece of double-sided tape underneath my cutout and then another double-sided tape piece over my little slot right here so that we can add our lining panel. So I'm going to remove those paper, or the paper from the double-sided tape. Then I'm going to grab my lining piece. With the right side down, we're going to press those together and then take this to the sewing machine. I've still got my 4 stitch length, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right where my top stitching stopped on the side of my card slot cutout. It's going to be, so we're going to be stitching about 1/4 of an inch from our cutout. We're going to go down to the bottom and stop till we're about 1/8 of an inch. We're sewing 1/8 of an inch on this side, 1/4 of an inch on this side. And then when we get back to this other side, we're going to be sewing 1/4 of an inch away from the edge. So there should be 1/4 of an inch on this side, 1/4 of an inch on this side. And then on top of that little slit, we're going to sew another 1/8 of an inch. Alright, so what you're going to be doing is 1/8 of an inch on the top and 1/8 of an inch on the bottom. You're going to be doing 1/4 of an inch on each side. Alright, now that we have our ID window in, we're going to grab our card slots and we're going to grab a smaller ruler and some kind of marking tool. And we're going to take, so I'm going to do pink, my multicolored, and then pink. I'm going to take my ID wallet panel and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to measure up 1/2 inch. I'm going to take one of my pieces just so that I kind of have a reference point, and from the edge I'm going to mark about as long as that card slot is so that I know where to line this card slot up at. I'm going to measure up another 1/2 inch and then lift up my ruler and measure up another 1/2 inch. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my top card slot piece and I am going to line up the sides and the bottom, and when I take it to the sewing machine, all I'm doing is I'm going to be top stitching along this bottom. I'm not sewing the sides, I'm not sewing this side, I'm just top stitching along that bottom. Still have a 4-stitch length. I am lining up that line that I drew and the side of my card slots, and 1/8 of an inch away from the edge I'm just going to back stitch to make sure she's staying in place. It'll look like that. Now we're going to go back to the sewing desk and grab the next panel in line. Alright, so we've got our first card slot on there. The next thing we're going to do is grab the next one in line, line it right up along the line on the bottom, and then making sure that the outside edges are lined up as well. Let's take that to the sewing machine, and again you're just sewing 1/8 of an inch along the bottom. Alright, so we've got our second card slot on there. Now I'm going to grab my last one and I'm going to place it along that bottom line, making sure this edge, and along the line matches. Now for this one we're going to do it just a little bit differently. So we're going to start up here at the top left corner, 1/8 of an inch from the edge. We're going to top stitch down the card slots and then across the bottom. That's it. We're just making a big L. Alright, so still a 4-stitch length. I'm going to line all of this up as best I can. And then right there at the top one, I'm going to put 1 stitch down and then I'm going to back stitch. The vinyl that I got is kind of stretchy, so that's kind of creating some issues. I have to keep that in mind when I go to pick the next one. Alright, so now we've got our card slots all in place. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my lining for my card slots. And basically what you're going to do is just right side to right side, right along the straight edge. We're going to take this to the sewing machine and we are going to sew these two together with 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Alright, so I have got a 3-stitch length now, and I'm just sewing right at 1/4 of an inch across that top straight edge. Alright, now I'm going to take my lining away from my ID panel, and if you want you can grab some clips here, but you really want to make sure that these edges, the round edges, stay together. So I am just going to clip down here. I want those edges to stay together. Now you can just kind of press that ID wallet against that lining, and then we're just going to top stitch down this straight side. I am going to set my stitch length at a 4. Alright, so we have got the ID, card slots, all of that done. We're going to set that aside. There we go. We're going to grab our lining panel, and the next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to put it this way because it's easier for me to see. I'm going to be measuring down 3 inches. And I'm going to do it again. I'm going to have the pink, the multicolored, and then the pink. I am going to measure down 3 inches, so 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to clip this in place, and just like we did with the other card slots, we're just going to sew down across the bottom. If you wanted to, you could add double-sided tape on that, and that way it doesn't kind of shift around. And I think that's what I'm going to do because this vinyl is it's really stretchy, and I don't want it to look all kinds of funky. So I think I'm going to take some double-sided tape down here, and then that way it just kind of stays in place. Alright, let's go to the sewing machine. Alright, let's see if that double-sided tape helps. Alright, so all we're going to do is 1/8 of an inch right across. Alright, adding the double-sided tape really helped with that stretchy vinyl. This one's not as stretchy. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure down 1/2 inch, and I'm going to place my next card slot, my next long card slot. And I'm just kind of matching up the sides. Now again, we're going to go down 1/8 of an inch and just sew that in place. Now I'm going to grab my last one, and I am going to add another piece of double-sided tape because that really did help. 1, keep it in place, but 2, keep it from stretching. You also need to keep in mind that if you're using double-sided tape right there, that you are, 1, you don't want to put it any higher because that's where your card slots are going to be, but 2, you're going to gunk up your sewing machine needle, so keep an eye on that. Alright, so she's going to go another 1/2 inch down, just like the rest of them. And then again on this one, we are just going to 1/8 of an inch down that bottom edge. Alright, we've got all of our card slots sewn in. Next thing you need to do is grab a ruler and a marking pen. And what we're going to do is we're going to measure 3 3/4 in, and that should put you right at the center. I'm just going to mark my card slots. I'm not marking over here or down here. I'm just marking the center so that I know where to put my center seam. So again, with a 4-stitch length, I'm going to start right above my card slot, 1 stitch, come forward, back stitch, come forward all the way down, and that will create the dividers between these two. Alright, so now we have our divisions between our card slots. We're still not sewing these edges just yet. Hang on, I know, it's probably stressing you out too. Alright, so we're going to grab our ID wallet. We're going to match up those rounded corners and then clip everything together so that it'll stay in place. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set this aside. We're going to go and grab our outer panel, and we're going to install our zipper pouch on the back. So take this, set it aside, grab your outer panel. On your outer panel, the side that has the straight side, we're going to measure 1 inch down and then 3/4 of an inch in on each side. So when you're looking at it, you got 3/4 coming in this side, 1 inch down. Make your marks and then move your ruler down 1/2 inch and then make another line and connect them so that you have your zipper cut out. Then you're going to need to cut it out. And you're going to want to use as smooth a cut as you can, not constantly stopping like I am because I don't have my sharp scissors on my table right now. I know. I'm just going to kind of want to go in smooth motion so that it doesn't look like it's kind of all jaggedy. And then just cut that out. And it should look like that. Now, grab your zipper, your top zipper pouch pocket piece, and your bottom piece, and then your zipper. What we're going to do first is we're going to grab our zipper and we're going to put it on wrong side. So you'll have the right side of your zipper facing you, and you'll have the right side of your lining facing you. This is going to be the top piece. What you're going to do is we're going to go sew this together with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Alright, so I have got my 3-stitch length to sew my zipper on, and I'm using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Alright, so I've cut my threads, and now what you're going to do is you're going to take your lining and pull it away from your zipper so that the zipper top is pushed towards the wrong side of your lining. So this is the right side, that's the wrong side. Then we're going to, with a 4-stitch length, kind of top stitch that down. We want to hold that zipper facing down so that when you look inside of your zipper, you'll see the right side of your fabric and you won't see all of this. Alright, so we have got our top lining onto our zipper. The next thing that we're going to need to do is add our bottom. So I'm just going to turn this around and put the right side of my zipper onto the right side of my lining. And we're going to do just like we did with the other side. We're going to sew on a 1/4 inch and then fold that piece over. So let's go do that. I've got a 3-stitch length, and again we're making sure that the wrong side of our zipper is going to the right side of our lining. And a 1/4 inch seam allowance. We're just going to sew those together. Alright, now we're going to take and pull that lining away from that zipper and push that zipper down. So you should see the wrong side of your lining facing you, but the right side of your zipper facing you. And on the other side, you see the wrong side of the zipper and the right side of the material. It'll make sense in a little bit, I promise. We're just going to top stitch that zipper down just like we did earlier. Alright, so our zipper's all ready. I went ahead and put some 1/4 inch double-sided tape on each side of my zipper. It's on the edge of where my zipper is, so the outer part of it. Now we're going to grab our zipper and place it onto our zipper tape. Taking the left side, putting the right side in. Okay, so this is the top, this is the bottom. You want your zipper to open to the right, close to the left, and that's how you need to put your zipper on. Okay, we're going to grab our outer panel, and what I'm going to do is I'm just taking the paper off of the top part. I'm going to take my outer panel and I'm going to center it as best I can and then push that down, and then I'm going to lift this up and get that zipper out of the way, and then I'm going to pull that other paper off and then place this down. I'm going to go to the sewing machine, and with the lining face out like this, I'm going to stitch all the way around my zipper rectangle. Still have a 4-stitch length, and we're going an eighth of an inch away from the edge of our cutout, making sure that we grab that lining underneath. Okay, so we've sewn around our rectangle. The lining should still look like this. We're going to grab a couple of clips. We're going to take this top lining and we're going to match it up to our bottom lining. And we're going to need to sew on all 3 sides, closing this up. So I'm going to take it to the sewing machine. I'm going to pull back this top flap, and it's going to be tight. We're just going to be sewing down across the bottom and then back up this side. Alright, so I have got a 3-stitch length. I'm just pulling this out of the way. We're going to be sewing about an eighth of an inch or so from the edge on the sides, and then on the bottom you can do a 1/4 inch. Alright, so you have got your zipper all in place. The next thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to grab your paper pattern and mark where your magnetic snaps are supposed to go. Then I took my washer and I kind of placed it sideways, because if we place it this way, our stems of our magnets might be too close to that edge, and we don't want to accidentally hit it with our needle because that would stink. So I put them sideways like that. And because this vinyl is kind of thin, I went ahead and grabbed some Peltex and cut them out to the size of my washer so that it won't show through onto the front. I'm going to go ahead and open those up. I'm going to grab my male ends of my magnets and I'm going to put it from the right side with the stems on the lining side or the wrong side of the outside fabric. I'm going to put my Peltex on top of that. And then I'm going to put my washer, and instead of killing my hands, I'm going to grab my pliers and push those down. So it should look like that. I'm going to grab my second one, wherever it went. Alright, now we've got our magnets on our outer panel. That's all ready. We have got our lining. That's all ready. We're going to line them up like this so that the straight edge is at the top and the curved edge is at the bottom. What we're going to do is we're going to put these wrong side to wrong side right over top of each other. I'm going to go around and clip. We're not sewing yet. We're just going to clip these two together all the way around and then set that aside, and we're going to go work on the flap next. So go ahead and clip all those together. Try and make sure that all of the edges are lining up as straight as you can. I'm going to have to straighten this up a little bit more, but make sure that it's straight. We're going to go grab your flap. I grabbed my paper pattern piece and I lined it up, made my marks for where my magnet placement is supposed to be, took my magnets and again placed them kind of sideways so that the stems aren't towards the edge because we don't want to catch those. I opened those up. I've got the Peltex templates, I've got my washers, and I've got my magnets. They just don't want to let go of each other. Alright, we're going to place our magnets through the right side of our fabric, like that. Then we're going to place our Peltex on top of that. Push those down. Alright, so our lining has our snaps on it. You can do one of two things. You can glue these two together, or you can just use double-sided tape. It's up to you. I do not have the luxury of time, so I am going to go ahead and just double-sided tape these together, and it's not that big a deal. I don't think these are going to separate too much since it's not, the flap's not huge is what I'm trying to say. If the flap was a little bit larger, I think after time you'd have to worry about it kind of getting baggy, but I think that with it being too small, it's alright. Well, anyway, if you want to put glue on it, go for it. If you want to use double-sided tape, go for it. I am just going to do a lot of double-sided tape because I don't have time for this to dry. Okay, I think that's enough. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take half of this off and work on one half at a time and matching up one half of my flap at a time. I'm going to make sure that top and the edges of the flap are matching up. Okay. Just like this. And if you need to trim some off, you can. It's okay. Alright, now pull the rest of that off. And match the edges up. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to trim anything up just yet. I'm going to take this to the sewing machine, and with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, I'm going to go all the way around my flap. And then after I'm done, I'm going to go around and kind of trim everything up. So let's go do that. Alright, I have got a 4-stitch length, and I'm just going all the way around my flap. Alright, we're ready to go. I went ahead and I grabbed my marking tool and my smaller ruler, and I marked up 1/4 of an inch from the bottom of my flap. You want to do that on both the lining side and then the outside. I'm also going to be grabbing some 1/4 of an inch double-sided tape. And I'm going to put it right on that bottom edge on both the outer and the lining panel. Okay, just like that. Now we're going to grab our lining and our body piece. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to, there we go. I'm going to take the paper off of my lining side, and I am going to match up that line with the very top of my lining all the way across. And you may have to move some of these clips out of the way so you can kind of move it around. And then just kind of press those together so that it looks like that. Then flip it over, and we're going to take the tape or the paper off, and we're going to match up the outer panel with that 1/4 of an inch line. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to the sewing machine, and what we're going to do is we're going to stitch 1/8 of an inch all the way across the top, all the way down, around, and back up again. Alright, so I'm going to start at this side. I also made sure that my zipper is in the center, and then when I'm sewing on this side that my zipper pull is on this side so I don't accidentally get it. Just kind of keep that in mind, because that would stink. I have got a 4 stitch length, and I'm just going 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Alright, it's all sewn up. I would definitely say do not use stretchy leather or stretchy vinyl on this. You really want something more like a marine vinyl or something like that that's not going to kind of stretch and sway, because it kind of stretched a little bit over here. Anyway, it is done. We can lock and load. The next thing that you're going to need to do is you are going to need to go and edge coat this. And how I've got mine laid out on my edge coating situation is I just have it wide open like this and down, and then I edge coated everything and kind of set it on top of there. Give me a second and I'll show you how I have it on my setup. This is the thing I've been using to do all of my edge coating with, and then I just kind of have it sitting there while I do the base coat, and then I'll go back and do the regular color coat. And if you guys are watching the videos and subscribing, I'll be showing you some of the Mojo Sews edge coating. So make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss that. Okay guys, what did you think? I hope you like this pattern. I hope, because it was free, you like it even more. But I hope you guys enjoy the pattern. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section down below. I feel like it was pretty easy to do. Let me know in the comment section down below. There is also an SVG file that's going to be available for this, so that you guys can just put it on your Cricut and roll. So if you like this video, make sure that you give it a thumbs up, or if you want to subscribe so that you don't miss any of the other patterns that are coming out, because there is another pattern coming out that is the mama to this one. This one only had like a few credit card slots. The next one that's coming out, she holds 25. So if you need more credit card slots, get ready, because Big Mama's coming. If you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up, or if you want to subscribe and make sure that you don't miss anything, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section down below. I do check those every day. Thanks for joining us again on Faithwerks Designs. Bye guys.